Welcome back to the Parent Edit podcast. Today we are joined by Patricia O'Dwyer, who is a mother of two, creator and founder of Modern Mum. Very well known for her fashion and sense of style. Your content is very curated while still being real. First pregnancy, how did that change working in style for you? Were you a bit like, oh, now what?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I definitely found it a bit jarring, to be honest, partly because I had only just started creating content and all of a sudden I was like, oh, everything's about to change. And like, I've not really, not planned for it. I had very much planned for it, but I had not really thought about how I was going to share that. I had just started creating this thing for myself, had struggles with disordered eating in the past. So thought of seeing my body change in that way was also quite overwhelming. And I was a bit nervous about what that was going to look like. Things like, obviously, when you go to the doctors and they weigh you and stuff, when you're having your midwife appointments, and I was there like, I don't want to know. I don't care. I think all of that kind of seeing your body change in that way when you have grown up being so aware of it can be a little bit daunting.
Do you find that there was a point that you settled into it or maybe never did?
I'm not really sure the first time round. It's been very different the first and second pregnancies, and I enjoyed it a lot more the second time. The first time, I don't know that I did settle into it. I didn't follow that many people that were pregnant at the same time as me, or people that I had kind of grown to love their style and then they were pregnant. So I didn't really know where I was looking. I didn't really know what I was doing for inspiration. I kind of resented having stressed that body when I didn't really want to. Very different experiences both time rounds. And every time you think you're getting a handle on it, you change and you grow in a different way, in a different area, whether it's your feet, your face, your body, whatever. It's just like a constantly moving phase that's quite hard to get to grips with.
I think, as with a lot of things in motherhood, it is this push and pull between something you wanted so desperately and then how it actually feels can be quite, a lot to get your head around, and then you feel guilt for not loving every part of it.
That's the whole of motherhood, isn't it? It's the one place where you're supposed to do it and you absolutely cannot complain. I can't remember what podcast I heard this on. The reference that they gave was if somebody signed up for a marathon, everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And you're allowed to moan about it the whole time. You're allowed to be like, this is really hard. And everyone's like, yeah, you're doing such a good job. Well done. Whereas with pregnancy and motherhood, it's like, well, you asked for this. Didn't you ask for this? You shouldn't be complaining. And it's like, yeah, I still want it. That doesn't mean it's not hard.
Style challenges in pregnancy.
Not wanting to, and this I'll say for both my pregnancies, I didn't really want to be investing in a whole new wardrobe. Even now, not pregnant, I like to invest in pieces that I'm going to wear forever, and I kind of didn't want to be buying things for the sake of pregnancy. I think also and it's something I definitely did a lot better the second time round, but I really wanted to hold on to my personal style. Fashion is something that is really important to me mentally as well as physically. Really find that it's a way that I kind of communicate how I'm feeling. It leads into my confidence, all of that type of thing. So I didn't want to be wearing completely different things. I like a dress, but it's definitely not my go-to. I'm more of a jeans and a t-shirt kind of gal. A lot of the time with pregnancy itself, it's just easier to put on a dress, isn't it? Because it kind of does the whole thing. I was doing that and it didn't really feel like me. So finding outfits that worked for my style really helped. That was sort of sizing up in things that were already there. I bought a pair of jeans that was way too big, which helped afterwards as well.
Yeah, I definitely had these notions. All my clothes were kind of size 10 high-waisted. Yeah. And so I had these notions that obviously when the mode came out, I'd be size 10 high-waisted.
Yeah.
Did actually get there, maybe, I don't know, a week before I got pregnant again. Definitely also, for me and you, emergency section, I did not want anything near my waist. I felt really weird about my scar. Kind of wanted the maternity jean feel of the fabric over the bum, but not the look. Almost harder postpartum because I was just like, oh, I don't want fitted, but I want to be more put together.
Yeah.
What do I want?
I probably just disappeared a little bit the first time. I was just I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm wearing. My first daughter was born in January, so it's kind of that time of the year where I was like, I'm just going to hide. Whereas the second time, so the pair of jeans that I brought, that literally I wore until maybe 34 weeks, they were big. I wore them higher up, obviously, at the beginning, and then I wore them under the bump at the end, and they were great. And it made me feel like myself. I could still wear my go-to jeans, t-shirt, blazer look and feel like myself. And then it meant that I could wear those afterwards and they weren't touching anywhere I didn't want them to touch. But I was like, oh, I'm wearing jeans. Having to fit back into your clothes, it's worth just not, if they don't fit, they don't fit. It is a different body. And it's much easier, I think, to say that having done it twice. Because the first time I definitely was not willing to listen to that. The way that you feel in your clothes is what translates. Something that, you know, people are always like, oh, I don't know how to wear this or that. I don't know about wearing a huge oversized blazer. But the thing is, it will only look good if you feel good in it. If you're trying to wear, it's like trends, to be honest. If you're trying to wear a trend that doesn't feel like authentic to you, it won't look good because you don't feel good.
It's funny because I am determined to basically get rid of all my jeans, because even before I got pregnant again, I was like, oh, I hate them. And I'm like, I know what made me feel good. How you dress between first and second pregnancy, you felt more confident the second time round. Do you think that was feeling more confident as a mum? Because I think motherhood gives you more confidence.
Definitely. It was definitely feeling more confident as a mum. It was feeling more confident in myself as a person, to be honest. You know, I was 29 when I had Otley. I was 30, I don't know, older. Even in that time, I changed a lot. Obviously, putting myself out online, I've grown in confidence in a different way. So all of those things, I think, contributed. And I just decided I wanted to wear what I wanted to wear. I think it's that thing that I just mentioned of like, I realised actually for me to look good, I need to feel good. And I joke a lot with my husband because some of the things I wear, he thinks are truly ridiculous. I don't care. I feel good. And he's like, well, that's great. Like, and that's why you look good. That's why you're able to wear the things that you wear. It's something I've realized a lot from when I was a lot younger with boyfriends that didn't make me feel good, or in situations that I didn't feel good. And I used to only wear black. And I think lots of girls wear black and look so cool, and like that's their whole aesthetic. Whereas I look back at myself then, and all I was trying to do was make myself smaller. In my first pregnancy, there were ways that I was trying to do that, just trying to like hide what was going on. Whereas this time round, I just felt more confident in myself. So I was like, I'm going to play a little bit. I'm going to see what I want to do with this, how I'm going to wear things. Am I wearing it over the bump? Am I wearing it under the bump? How am I going to lean into my style outside of pregnancy and make that work in pregnancy? I just had more fun with it.
Did you invest in any specific maternity pieces?
I probably did more sizing up than I did investing in specific pieces. Thinking about things like breastfeeding, I breastfed both my daughters for around about a year. So I had to think about that a little bit, which is a question I got a lot afterwards on my Instagram. I'm not sure that I actually felt like it impacted my dressing as much, because as soon as I stopped breastfeeding, I was like, I'm still wearing the same stuff. I think part of that is like I feel I'm lucky and fortunate and to have got to a place where I feel felt very comfortable breastfeeding in public. So things like having to be really covered up and doing it in a way that people couldn't see didn't bother me, because I'm like, I'm feeding my child. If it bothers you, then you're free to go. As long as I could access my boob, then I was fine. But things like button down, like I wore a lot of shirts, I wore a lot of cardigans. I like jumpers were great. You could have something underneath that you could then move around. But on the whole, I tried to have things that were going to work throughout.
Something I always leaned into was shirts that were buttoned down. Yeah. And then like this style I have in navy, buttoned down and doesn't actually necessarily feel like a maternity piece. Do you have like a specific outfit or a few pieces that you put together that made you feel really good if you were kind of going to something more put together postpartum?
My go-to is probably like jeans or a trouser, a really nice t-shirt and a blazer or a good jacket. That if I like really don't know what to wear, that will kind of be my go-to formula. And that was quite an easy one, I think, to replicate. Even if it was, you know, the beginning, I didn't want to be wearing jeans necessarily because it's all, especially after a C-section, it's like quite tender. A pair of satin trousers, such a good one, like a drawstring waist, super easy. It feels like you're wearing trackies, my go-to. I love a matching set. Having my second in the summer was really nice as well, because I think it's just easier to dress and be a bit more floaty, and you don't have to worry about layers and stuff like that.
Postpartum can be a really vulnerable time. Is there anything that you did to kind of navigate that getting dressed? I remember I would just stand there in the mirror and be like, what do I want? Let alone what do I look good in? I don't know how to navigate this. There's this moment in pregnancy when you wonder if you will ever feel like you again. Isabella Oliver was born from the belief that pregnancy isn't about hiding or waiting, it's about transforming, designed to celebrate your growing and changing shape. Most maternity wear, oversized, shapeless, forgettable. Pregnancy doesn't just pause your life or your style. Isabella Oliver is for the woman you are and the woman you become.
It's really hard, and I don't want to minimize that in any way. Like, I'm never going to be like, oh, just, you know, you'll feel fine, because it is really difficult. Not only is your body in like a really random in-between space where you don't know what it's doing, you're also probably sleep deprived, your hormones are all over the place. Like, I was quite loopy after both my pregnancies, less so the second time. It's a really intense time. So then the last thing you need is to look in the mirror and be like, I don't know what's going on. It was just like a bit of simplicity. For me, then it's always accessories. I love my accessories. I love good jewelry. I love to do my makeup, even if it's like really simple, do my hair, stuff that will make me feel like myself. And then an outfit, a simple outfit, can be really easily elevated in those ways as well, but you just feel a bit more put together. Even if I was wearing trackies, to be honest, that isn't my most glamorous thing, but it is what I wanted to wear. If I've washed my hair, I've done my hair the way I feel good, put on a little bit of makeup, even if that's just like a tinted moisturizer, it does make a really big difference. And it's just getting out for me. I just feel better, even if it's just literally walking down to the end of the road and back.
A lot of people struggle with the in-between phase. I found this like very much in both kind of first trimesters where you're like, I feel bloated, I feel gross. Have we got any tips like navigating the in-between phases? Because they are very much, I would say, like at the beginning of your pregnancy and at the beginning of your postpartum.
It's maybe not a time, obviously, if you want to, then do. But for me, it wasn't a time where I was like experimenting too much, you know, because that's when you're a bit like, whoa, finding what you feel good in. And that will be different for everybody. For me, it was things like a matching set. I just love a matching set. It's done all the heavy lifting. You kind of look a little bit more glamorous because it all looks very considered, which I love. Things like that make you feel good. And for some people, it might be a dress, it might be jeans, it might be trousers, you know, whatever that is. It might be a really nice tracksuit. I think that's something that if you want to just be really comfy, a trackie is great. But like maybe that's an opportunity to invest in something really nice.
Investing in like really good quality basic pieces, because that might be all you feel like wearing.
There are brands like Balkan that are doing that. Obviously, the whole concept is throughout pregnancy and beyond. And their pieces like are just so comfortable, so well put together. The quality is incredible. I think it's really well made, really well designed. I think we're lucky to be in a time where we've kind of moved away from the fast fashion-y stuff.
Did becoming a mother change your overall approach to style?
As much as I would love to say no, yeah, my lifestyle's changed a lot. I saw somebody the other day saying, not dressing for your Pinterest board, but dressing for your life. And I think it's true, you know, as much as like I love dressing up, my opportunities for those are fewer and further between. I love getting dressed. Yeah. It makes me feel so good. I dress properly for the school run. I dress properly to go to the park. I dress properly to go to soft play.
This is what I aspire to do.
And that doesn't mean glam. I think that's the difference. So my lifestyle has changed. It's not glam. You know, what I'm wearing today this isn't a wild outfit. I'm literally wearing jeans and a cardigan. But I like fashion and I love looking put together, and I think that's okay. But sometimes I feel like weirdly it's almost like I should feel shame for dressing up for the day-to-day, but I want to.
It fits your life, and that's, you know, that's something that makes you feel good. It's very easy to fall into the martyrdom of motherhood. It's not changing your quality of parenting if you get dressed up all day.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I get up really early.
Yeah.
So I get up at 5:30 every day because I find it really important to have that time before the girls are awake. I need to be alone before I parent. So in part of the thing I do in that time is pick out my outfit, do my makeup, get ready. Nice. And for me, that's important. I appreciate that not everybody will feel the same way, and that's also fine.
You are now co-founder of More Than Mum. Yeah. How did your own experience of pregnancy and postpartum influence what you mean to create for other mums?
More Than Mum is all around having that space to reconnect with your identity outside of motherhood. As I mentioned in the first part of our conversation around my first pregnancy and how jarring I found that, and feeling all of a sudden like that was my whole identity. And I think it happens to so many of us. You become a mum and then it's like you're a mum. And so I just wanted to have that space because I found there are lots of great community spaces, and that's something that's really grown that I absolutely love to see. There are amazing things like the Mum Club where there's space for like mums and babies to hang out. Even in those spaces, like I can't finish a conversation, and it's still, as much as you don't want it to be, you're still going, oh, how are you sleeping? What soft play have you been out? And I just wanted to have a space for mums to like remember that there is so much more to them, whatever that is. It might be work for some people, it might be running, it might be catching up with their friends, it might be crocheting, it might, whatever it is, there is stuff outside, but it's so difficult to make that time. And I found that, you know, with a 3.5-year-old and a 15-month-old, making space without feeling intense guilt, while I love being a mum more than anything, doesn't fulfill me entirely. For some women it does, and that's amazing, but it's another thing where I felt awkward to admit that it wasn't my whole. I wasn't like, oh, I'm a mum. Like, gosh, I just found my whole thing. And I was like, what if there was a space for us to say, yeah, it's great, but I also love being aware.
You would never ask a man. So do you feel like you've reached your complete fulfillment and this is all you need till the day you die? No. You'd be like, oh, what are you doing on the weekend? Yeah, it's everything rugby. How's work?
After our first event, which was last month, it was a messages after to the mums saying, like, I just feel so inspired and it was just amazing to connect with so many other mums. This is exactly what I wanted.
It's funny, isn't it? Because it's like the second you have the baby, I just remember everyone just constantly saying, are you so happy? This is the best thing you've ever done. Yes, of course, obviously, and emotionally, yeah, my cup is full now till the day I die. I really feel very fulfilled. But also, like, there's loads I need to work through here mentally. Like, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of stress, very concerned I'm not doing it right. A lot of those feelings would override the fulfillment for a while. And actually now I feel like it's petering out, and my general feeling more than not is like very fulfilled, very happy.
The first year, especially with my oldest, and like, I feel really sad about it now because it was very different the second time, was so tough. I wasn't super happy.
Yeah.
I never spoke to anybody about it to any sort of level of diagnosis or whatever, but like, I definitely dealt with some postpartum depression and struggles. Because I'd started my Instagram not long before having her, I hadn't had the opportunity to really put myself fully in that and like commit myself to that career. And so all of a sudden I'm building alongside being a mum, which is a full-time job, struggled to sort of balance those things. So one of the things that I've realised for me is actually, in order to be a good mum, I need to be doing stuff for myself. Building my Instagram, building more than mum, actually having those focuses for me personally makes me a better mum. One of the things that I didn't do the first time round was I was just like, you're the focus, you're the focus, you're the focus. And in the background, I was just disappearing. And now I'm like, actually, if I can focus on myself first, if I can put my own gas mask on first, then I could be the best mum.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it is really hard because unfortunately, like everything everyone will tell you as a parent, oh, you're going to feel this, or like, oh, don't be surprised if this happens. You just have to live it to know. I very much felt like I was going to be Earth Mum. And it was like a literally freight train hit me from all directions. I felt like I was receiving these, but isn't it the best thing that's ever happened to you thing? And I'd have to say, yeah.
And then you'll be, why is it not? Why is everybody saying this and I'm not feeling it?
Yeah. And I think it's because the expectation is too high. You know, they set the bar so high on these things you should feel. Yeah. We then feel too guilty to say anything else. And I know that it doesn't make you a bad mom if you've had a bad day.
Exactly. You know, social media is so difficult for it because, you know, I want to be open that it's really hard and I do try and share that bit. But I'm always also like, yeah, but it's also great and I also love it. You've got the other side where it's like, no, this is actually the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I was following those accounts being like, what? Why is it not the best thing that's ever happened to me? What have I done wrong? And I hadn't done anything wrong. I just was navigating it for my own personal experience, which it's such a personal experience. And I think it's great that we share so much now. But I think you just have to remember that it will be different for everybody. I think that's when More Than Mum is a space that I want to create where this isn't about everyone's experience being the same. This is just a space for you as an individual woman.
Do you think More Than Mum leans into not necessarily like career women, but women that are not looking for a mum and baby class?
We definitely want to create these spaces for lots of different mums. The core of it is you and your identity. And it's not a space to say, this is to help you get back to work. Because like for a lot of mums, that's not what they want to do. And I think that's also great. Being a mum is enough. The focus isn't that, but there will be spaces around that for women who are looking to talk more about career. There will be well-being conversations where we can look at finding more time to look at yourself. I want to talk about menopause. I want to talk about what's happening in our bodies. I think it's crazy that we still, with all the things that we are talking about, we are still not talking about menopause. I still don't know what's coming down the road and when it's coming. It's a space for us to talk about and also just like have a laugh. But our next event in a few weeks' time is a party wear clothes swap and like Christmas drinks, and it's just a bit of fun.
If you could go back and give yourself one piece of styling advice for pregnancy and postpartum, what would it be?
It would be to try and keep in touch with my personal style. In my first pregnancy, I was just trying to cover it all up. Maybe if nobody knows I'm pregnant, then this is not really happening. Whereas the second time I was like, oh, this is like a whole new thing I can play with. The India edit went to a festival or a hen party or something. She like bejeweled the bump, and I was like obsessed with that. People are like exposing their bumps more and highlighting the bumps more. And I definitely did that one second time, and I absolutely loved it.
Do you think that the general pregnancy postpartum industry, it has evolved more to support women over the past few years?
I just want clothes that feel good, and I do think we've come a long way. Honestly, even between my two pregnancies, the opportunity to wear amazing things has changed a lot, but I think there's probably more scope to keep going with that.
What message would you give to new or expecting mothers who are struggling to feel confident right now and thinking, I don't know who I am, I don't know what I want, I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be, because you don't know what your body is going to look like after?
I think accepting that it is going to change. And like I said at the very beginning of this conversation, somebody who has struggled a lot, and it never leaves you. I think if you've struggled with any sort of disordered eating, it's with you forever. And it's something that I still have to be very conscious of. So it's accepting that it will change. You know, you'll probably, it's unlikely that you will go back all the way to where you were before. From the outside, I probably look very similar to what I did pre-pregnancy, but for me, I'm like, it's completely different. Everything's in a different place. My skin's a lot looser. The like overhang C-section thing is still not 100% gone. It is beautiful. And I know that's so naff to say.
Yeah.
But I even look back at me like postpartum when I was feeling so rubbish about everything. And I'm like, you look great. You do look great. And I think I've been a lot kinder to myself this time round to be like, you did just birth a child. We might have to wear things a bit differently, but like, look at what you've got. Look at what you've created literally from within your body. I found pregnancy rank. Like, I hated it. I did not find it a beautiful experience, but it is actually. And like, even things like the scars, I love my scars. I really do, because I'm like, that is a physical representation of like where my daughters, and I've got two, they can do at the same time, the same place. You can't hide any of that stuff. And if you can just learn to accept that things have changed, but then dress for that. I think the worst that you can do is try to dress for a body that you don't have anymore. And if you accept that things have changed and you start dressing this new body, then you will find that actually, oh, it's great.
Where can people find you?
So you can follow me on Patricia O'Dwyer on Instagram and TikTok, and More Than Mum is at More Than Mum Co. And we'd love to have everyone come to our event. They're starting off closer to home in Buckinghamshire, but we will be doing events in London. Our plans to do events all over the country.
Exciting. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. I'll link all your socials below so everyone can find you and to your very, very good sense of style. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. I've loved it.